This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Philly Sports Guy show. I was at the game yesterday. I'm sure you guys were all watching it, and what an amazing game by the Birds yesterday. This was a total win for the entire team. The entire team took this on. I mean, it was really by far one of the best performances I've seen out of this team in a long time against somebody who's supposedly a really good team. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like they took care of business against Green Bay last week. They're to be probably the best in that division. Didn't look at last night. Didn't look at last night. And of course, Kirk Cousins is just Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? He's able to do the things that he does when the spotlight's on him, which means that team stinks. He is a coach killer, and he proved it last night. It was just a lot of fun to be at that game. First off, the link was rocking. It was rocking. Opening day, Monday night football, having a good team. The Vikings come in here. The last time they were here, they got their butts handed to them again. It was at that time. And that was 38-7. And it looked like it was headed that way as well. I think that the Eagles kind of just sat back and let that all happen a little bit. The defense was on fire last night. They were all over every place. Gannon still did not really do a lot of blitzing, but I guess they just bought into to what he was trying to sell, because ultimately they had a great game at all the way around. Let's start talking about some of the numbers just going on. First off, got to go with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was the man last night, was the man. First off, 82% completion percentage. Who was that? 82%. 82% completion percentage. That was absolutely, it was probably his best performance of his young career. 26 for 31 for 333 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Really, that interception that should have never have happened. That bounced off of Gainwell's hands and then into the hands of the defender. I mean, ultimately, he was like, where did this come from? Oh, thank you very much. And of course, they still couldn't score. They still could not score after that. And they tried everything to get momentum going their way. And I'm talking the Vikings tried to get everything to get the momentum going their way. And it just did not happen. It did not happen. The Vikings were just overmatched completely yesterday. 3 interceptions by Kirk Cousins. Anyways, let me finish the numbers here on Jalen Hurts, though, first. He, like I said, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 108.7 passer rating. He also had 57 yards rushing. So that's right. Just in case anybody from the cheap seats that need to hear this, he's had 390 total yards of offense and accounted for all 3 touchdowns. I think that's a good day from our boy. Absolutely. Absolutely. He was sacked 3 times. I think that one of those sacks, it was like a running play, and they wind up giving him a sack on that. Didn't matter. That really didn't play much into it. Anyways, on the opposite side of the field, Kirk Cousins did not have such a good day. He went 27 for 46 with 221 yards, threw 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and all three of those picks were in the red zone. That's why he is a coach killer. That's why he's a coach killer. That's why Kirk Cousins will not win much in this league. He just can't. He can't stand the limelight. Monday Night Football. Nope. 2-11. He's 2-11. He's played in 13 Monday Night Football games, and he's 2-11. Terrible. But good for us. He did rush for 20 yards, and he was the leading rusher on his team. Running for 20 yards. They got some guy on that team. What's his name? Cook. That's right. Dalvin Cook. Where was he at last night? You know who got more? You know who got more yards than Dalvin Cook? Our boy Jalen Reagor. He rushed for just as many yards, if not a little bit more, than Dalvin Cook did. 17 yards. 17 yards on the ground by Dalvin Cook. And also Jalen Reagor also had 17 yards on 1 carry. So that was the one play that he had because he couldn't, he wasn't going anywhere returning punts. He wasn't going anywhere. His revenge game, I guess that revenge, he took that one up to Keister because there was no revenge coming back from Jalen Reagor. None, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Anyway, so he had a 51.1 passer rating, and I'm surprised he got that good. Like I said, he threw for 221 yards. There was another guy. There's one of those receivers. They have a couple of really great receivers on that team. I think one's Thielen. He had a few targets, and he was able to get most of his targets. But there was another guy. What's his name? Justin. Yeah, he was like all this big hype because he was chosen after Reagor. You know what? They both looked horrible yesterday. Horrible. Was a great game, a total win, a big win completely by the Eagles in total. Obviously, they did have a blocked field goal. Again, the Vikings were trying everything they could to be able to get momentum. They block a field goal. What happens afterwards? Interception. Just the way it works. I mean, like I said, they literally, they were just overmatched. They were overmatched. The Eagles came to play this game, and I'll be honest. I was a little nervous going into Sunday. On Sunday, I was like, all right, this is going to be a really tough game for us on Monday. I don't know what's going to occur. It's like the defense is a little too sketch. The Vikings are looking pretty strong. They have a tremendous amount of weapons. If we don't put any pressure on Kirk Cousins, it's going to be a long day for us. I mean, I want to tell you my 3 keys to the game. Here's the 3 keys that I gave to the game. I sent this to somebody else who asked me for them. One was we had to put pressure on Kirk Cousins, and we need to blitz a little bit more. I'm not sure that we blitzed anymore, but we did put a little bit of pressure on him, just enough pressure for him to have to worry about it and throw those picks. 2, we have to get off the field on 3rd down. We cannot do against Detroit. We were 9 for 4. They went 9 for 14 on 3rd down, and you just got to be able to get off the field. You cannot continue to have these guys go on third down, and they get it. And it looked like that a little bit. They did connect on a couple of third down conversions. One went for like 9 yards, one was for like 12 yards, but in total, they only had 4 for 13. 4 for 13 on third down conversions for for the Vikings. So the Eagles was able to get off, and they were swarming. They were swarming. That man-to-man coverage they were doing pretty great with. And then my third one was involved all the offense early. You have to involve the entire offense and keep them guessing on who's going to be the guy to get targeted. You knew that on that first drive that Devonta Smith was going to be the one that gets the ball. I saw that. I saw the writing on the wall. He didn't get any receptions last week. That's not going to happen ever again. That's not going to happen ever again. He's going to be able to get the ball a lot. And they started it off giving him the ball in those first couple of throws there. Ultimately, though, Jalen Reagor went to eight different receivers for 333 yards. It really was, like I said, a great performance by him. To talk about the receivers real quick, nobody had 100 yards, but Devontae Smith, 7 targets, 7 catches for 80 yards. Dallas Goedert, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 82 yards. Quez Watkins, he was the one that caught that long ball touchdown. He had 2 receptions for 69 yards and a TD. Obviously, like I said, he went that on a long ball. That should happen a lot more. I'm surprised that hasn't happened up until this point, but that is one of the things. He was by himself. They were showing it on the big screen, and the big screen's got like yardage around it, and you didn't see anybody around him. He's sitting there going, hold on, I'll catch this ball over here because ain't nobody around me. Ain't nobody around me. Walked into the end zone, nobody within 15 yards of that guy. Amazing, amazing. How do you forget about him all the way around? A.J. Brown had 69 yards receiving. He was targeted 8 times. Got 5 catches for that. They got Zach Pascal. They got Gainwell. Gainwell was the one who wound up missing that one ball and it causing the interception. And then Boston Scott wound up getting 1 reception as well. So he was throwing the ball all over the place. It was not just a one-man show out there. For rushing, on the rushing side of the ball, Sam actually had another good game. Got himself another 80 yards. He had 17 attempts, 80 yards. His longest was a 12-yarder. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was number 2. He had 11 rushes for 57 yards. And then Boston Scott had a couple of touches for 19 yards. He had one big break, and then the rest he didn't really do much at all. On the other side of the ball, though, you had Dalvin Cook, 6 rushes, 17 yards. That is how you make sure that somebody is not a part of that offense. He was not a part of that offense. He also had 4 catches for another 19 yards. The Vikings came in, their game plan for this was to make sure that make Jalen Hurts beat them. You could tell that that's what they were doing. They wanted to stop the offense from running the ball, and they wanted Jalen Hurts to throw the ball. They thought that was going to be their best chance to win the game. And Jalen Hurts did what he was supposed to do. He went through his progressions. There was a couple times where he did miss a couple of open receivers, but you can't really complain him because he did complete the ball anyways, and most of those times were for first down. It literally was just like an all-around performance by that entire team, led by Jalen Hurts. Like I said, it was probably by far his best game as an Eagle yesterday. And he just willed them to win. He willed them to win. Like I said, it made me really wonder because of the way that game was yesterday. Is Detroit really a lot better than people are thinking? Right now, right this very second, I had Detroit being second in that division. I'm not sure that they won't be number 1 in that division. I mean, obviously they're scoring some points. We saw on Sunday how they just handed it to to Washington. They gave 36 points on Washington. Washington's supposed to have a pretty good defense. I don't know. I thought the Vikings were supposed to have a pretty good defense. I don't know. Not what I saw. I mean, it's looking like it's looking more and more. And you think about it. I mean, obviously there were two Monday night games yesterday. Buffalo played against the Titans, and you want to talk about a spanking? That was a spanking and a half, 41-7. I tell you, it sucked for me because I had all three of my teams that I played against had what's his face, the guy from the Dolphins who wound up scoring like 5 touchdowns, or not to Hill, Tyreek Hill. I was going up against Tyreek Hill, and then two of the three teams up against Josh Allen. The other one had Diggs. I wound up losing all three of my fantasy leagues because of Tyreek Hill and Josh Allen. And Josh Allen put up Tyreek Hill put up a ton of points. So did Josh Allen. And then, of course, that guy who had Diggs, he wound up had scoring over 200 points, I think, in my league. It really was a blowout by them. But kind of felt that could be, dare I say, a Super Bowl matchup. Dare I say that the two teams that stomped yesterday could wind up playing against each other in February. Would be a very interesting game. Very interesting game. Let's go some more in between the lines here. The Eagles were 7 for 13 on third down. So obviously, again, over 50% from third down. That's awesome to see. They were able to hold the Vikings to only 4. They went 4 for 12. I mean, that was, like I said, that was one of my keys to the game. They had to get off the field on third down, and they were able to make that happen. And then when they weren't doing third downs, when they were getting first downs and then getting into the red zone, it was picking season. It was like they were picking pumpkins for the Halloween season from Kirk Cousins, because they were just taking it all from him. It literally, at that time, you could tell he was just flustered and he wasn't throwing good balls. I mean, there was about 6 total balls that I thought could have been intercepted that were not. Literally, it's like Slay could have gotten 3 or 4. He was just reading Cousins, and he knew when it was going to Jefferson, and he was just on it. In fact, the last interception, he got hurt. He was a little banged up, and it took him a minute to get up off of the field, and Zach McPherson came in to try to relieve him, and he's like, He pushed him away, pushed him back off the field, says, I got this. And the next play, the interception, his second interception, the last one of his game, happened. It was, like I said, it was an all around performance, and the guys who needed to step up stepped up. It also, you had a sack. You had a sack by it. What's his face there? Cox playing and getting some tackles. Where did he get? Did he have any tackles that he wind up having? Did he just have that one? Yeah, he was. He got the sack, and Josh Sweat got the other sack. Like I said, they did put some pressure on him. They were hurrying him, and like I said, the receivers just could not get open. They really were. Just manhandled. They were manhandled by the defense. Gannon gets a week reprieve. He gets a reprieve this week. I'm going to not talk about Gannon. I would say that he called a really good game yesterday. That he was able to get enough pressure with the front guys, but and the man coverage was the way to go about that. They really did a really nice job in total, and that's what they need to do. They got to be able to continue to do this against these teams. Like I said, they've scored a lot of points up to this point right now. I mean, let's think about this. I mean, they have close to, what was it, 38 and 24, so that's what, 62 points. It's a lot of points. It's a lot of points so far. And I think the only team that scored more than them is Detroit. And of course, we beat them already. Well, nah, that's not true. I mean, Buffalo's also scored a ton of points. So I got to imagine. And now, of course, Miami's up there in that mix as well. But listen, this is an interesting season so far. I mean, obviously, the cream's going to rise to the top, but some of this has already risen. I mean, how many teams are 2-0 already? I mean, we've got two in the division. Who would have thought? Who'd have thunk that the Giants were going to start off 2-0? Right? Because everybody thought that the Eagles would. And like I said, we were a little nervous about this game. I know I was a little nervous, but going into Sunday, once I watched that Detroit game, I was no longer worried. No longer worried at all. It was like I said, the way that they handled Washington, and of course now we have Washington. mm I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's going to be a fun Sunday next Sunday as we taking 1,200 people. 1,200 people going down to Washington just with Philly sports trips. I'm not even talking about those other guys that are taking their things. You know what I mean? I mean, because they're, the one group that goes out there, they always have a lot of people, and then of course fans of Philly, they bring their people. It's going to be it's going to be I think it's going to be an Eagles crowd. I think it's going to be a home away game. Yeah, because it's going to be like the Phillies going to going to the Nationals. We're going to take over that stadium. I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't 25 to 30,000 Eagles fans in that stadium. That we would outnumber Washington fans because this is looking like a really good season moving forward. Like I said, I'm excited. I am really excited about this. A couple of things that I took notice to. Yeah, obviously we went 1 for 2 in the red zone, and when we had goal to go, we scored. We only had one time where we went goal to go, and we did score on that. They had 2 times where they had goal to go, and they only scored on one of them, obviously. And the 4 times that they were in the red zone, they went 1 for 4 with 3 interceptions. I imagine that the coach took the blame. When I listened to it, when I listened to the presser last night after the game, he was the one that took the blame for the Vikings. He's like, I just didn't have this team prepared, blah 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 blah, and I'm gonna take the fight. But literally, literally, it was, like I said, they just didn't perform. The Vikings did not perform. Whatever they thought they did last week, maybe that was their Super Bowl beating Green Bay, but they did not look very good. They didn't look like a formidable team. That's the thing. That was the thing. They didn't look like they were excited to be there. They weren't really doing the things they needed to do. The Eagles moved the ball down the field. They got the ball first. They moved the ball down the field and scored that touchdown right away and never looked back. It was like, I think the second drive ended pretty quick. They went 3 and out, but that third drive they scored that next touchdown, and literally the Vikings only had the ball for 2 minutes in that quarter. Was it? Yeah, we did go 3 and out and then punted, and then that next they went 3 and out and 3 and out. They gained 10 yards in the first 2 drives. The Vikings did. And by the end of the first quarter and into the second, obviously we had scored their second touchdown. It was like that 3 minutes into the second quarter, bam, touchdown, and it's 14-0. They did come back and score a touchdown. They drove 75 yards down the field to get that touchdown, but after that, it was punt, punt, interception, interception, punt, interception, sack to end the game. That's dominant. That's dominant performances. And now we're going to just get ready for Washington. And like I said, I got to imagine the Eagles are like, I want to go see my old friend. I got to go say hello to him up close and personal. I got to give him a little smack on the helmet and be like, good job, as he's down on the ground again. I think and it's going to be interesting, because obviously, Carson Wentz is going to have some emotion in this game. It's his first time playing the Eagles. It's not in Philadelphia, so they gave him a little bit of time to get himself acclimated down there in Washington before it is. Obviously, they got beat last week against Detroit, but like I said, it's going to be a much different game, a much more raucous crowd, and he knows what Philadelphia can bring. And right now, we're looking pretty strong, in this division. But isn't it nice to see the NFC East looking really good? The NFC East has, obviously the Eagles and the Giants are tied at 2-0, and then the Giants and the Cowboys are not the Giants, the Commanders and the Cowboys are tied at 1-1. Best division in football. Best division in football right now. So, right now, of course, like I said, there's more that's got to happen. You have the Raiders that wound up losing too, although we know better about that. Denver almost lost their game. That they're not going to do so well. Like I said, you could see a really good season from the NFC East. It really was amazing. So like I said, the NFC East is never down for too long. We had one bad season. Everybody thinks we're down and out. Not this year, baby. So the only other thing that I really love seeing, I love when I see this, the Eagles had their time of possession. They had 36 and 14 seconds to 23 minutes and 46 seconds. It literally was just an all around dominant performance, a dominant performance. But you can't be sniffing yourselves. Yeah, we could be excited as fans. We could do everything that we want to do and be really, doing our thing. But you cannot be sniffing yourselves. We have to go down and we got to play all of these games. Washington, just because we think we can beat Washington, it is still a divisional game. You have to treat it as such, and we have to go down there and take care of business. We got an old friend down there. We got to let him know just how much we love him by hugging him up and putting him to the ground. You know what I mean? That just balling him over. Being like, hey, here's how much we love you. Smack, smack, smack. All game long. I'd love to see them sack him like 4 or 5 times. Their offensive line is not very good. Their offensive line is not very good. And you saw it. What was it? Hutchinson, 3 sacks on him in the first half. In the first half, I think he was sacked 6 times because they started to do max protect. They needed to be able to protect him a little bit better. So, really was an all around. They got spanked last week. They barely got past the Jaguars in week 1, and now they have to face some real talents, and I'm thinking that the Eagles are going to go down there. I haven't even taken a look at the over unders yet or anything like that for Sunday. I'm going to touch that on that right this second. I'll let you know as interesting. The Eagles right now are a 6-point favorite. 6 points seems a little low, actually. It seems really low. I would take that right now. And as I also look, the first game on the top of my list here at 1 o'clock is the Detroit Lions against the Minnesota Vikings. And that the Vikings are a 5.5-point favorite. I like the Lions there. I like the Lions. I think that the Lions are going to, you know, upset the Vikings. I think I'm beginning to believe that the Lions could be the talk of the NFC North. That they are that good right now. Anyways, let's take a quick break. There is some more stuff that's happening in Philadelphia sports I want to get to. Obviously, the Phillies didn't end, but it was made up for by the Eagles. So let's go. I'm going to send on some commercial messages, and we'll be back right after this.
great day of music for an amazing cause. Saturday, September 24th, don't miss Yacht Stock River Jam. 24 bands on 2 stages, starring Sarah Spicer.
Love will hit you hard, like a fish through the wall, like a semi-automatic, it'll leave a scar. Love will hit you hard, like a hook to the right.
And Audra McLaughlin.
I don't want to feel the sun, I just want to feel the rain. Tread whiskey all night long.
With special guest Vixen 77. Yacht Stock benefits Shriners Hospitals for Children Philadelphia. Get your tickets now at yachtstock.org. Yacht Stock River Jam, September 24th at West End Boat Club, just off 95 in Essington.
Welcome to the Everyday GSD podcast. Today's special guest. Welcome to the Military Podcast. A true everyday.
It's the man of the job. It's the man of anything. Success is based on participation. So I participate daily.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's Cold War era.
Anybody wants to hear anything I have to say, but you and I have a lot of great conversations.
Everyday GSD is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. It's a way of life. The show's guests come from all walks of life and all have the same everyday get shit done mentality in common. Many are former military special operators who are now everyday GSDing in their civilian life. Others are civilians who get shit done on a daily basis. Veteran, prior military, the goal is to motivate and inspire through like-minded guests sharing epic life stories. Ultimately, what we want the audience to realize is every day is an opportunity to get up and get shit done. My name is Darren Bebo, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jonica, and I everyday GSD.
My name is Mike Rebell, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jesse Barnett, and I everyday GSD.
This is Wojo, and I everyday GSD.
This is Jake, and I everyday GSD.
My name is Hannah Gaber, and I everyday GSD.
This is Rachel, and I everyday GSD.
My name's Keith Dixon, and I everyday GSD.
My name's Kyle McCord, and I everyday GSD.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this.
Oh, I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, I'm from Brooklyn. Hey, get us any.
All right, and we're back. The one other thing I want to just talk about and touch base on real quickly is Dolan's Bar. You know this is my living room, but tonight I host Quizzo. It is the best Quizzo in Delaware County, in the Philadelphia area, and you could come watch it. You'll come do it. Come watch the Phillies game, have a drink, and see how smart you are. You might even be able to get, learn something here. So definitely check it out tonight at 8 o'clock. You come in a little early, watch the Phillies game, have a drink, and play some Quizzo. Free Quizzo. And we also have raffles. We give away great stuff. So don't come check it out every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock at Dolan's Bar. It's definitely something you don't want to miss. Also, so let's get back to sports. Now, obviously, you guys saw me Friday, Saturday, Sunday when I was hosting the Mac and Jack show. I know I don't do the Philly Sports Guy show, but obviously on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday week, I've been hosting the Mac and Jack show. So we got to talk a little bit about this, but the Phillies had a rough weekend. They had a very, very weekend. It wound up they wound up getting swept by the Braves. First game was 7-2. They were up in that game 2-1, and then lost in the eighth inning. As Sir Anthony Dominguez just did not look good in that game whatsoever. Game two of the series, they wound up trying to come back a little bit. They weren't able to do it. They were down 4-0. They pecked away. They got it within one, but that unfortunately wasn't able to do that and get the win there. So they lost 4-3, and then in the final game of the series there down in Atlanta, they lose 5-2. He took a no hitter. Strider took a no hitter into the sixth inning. The Phillies only wound up getting 4 hits in total. Tried to mount a comeback, but just it was not meant to be. Connor Brogdon winds up getting the loss, but it actually, I mean, there was another good game pitched by our I think that was Barry Falter. He only went 4 2/3, which I thought was maybe a little early on the hook. I mean, he wound up only giving up 1 earned run, 3 Ks, 2 walks, but I mean, I think he's been pitching pretty well. Obviously, they moved Noah Syndergaard over to the bullpen because obviously he's not been doing well, and I don't know how well he's going to be in the bullpen because as of right now he gives up a lot of hits. He just gives up a lot of hits, and I think that's what makes things a little nervous on that. So yes, Chris, that is exactly correct. We are going to have the unofficial. This is unofficial. Next year will be official. We tried to make it happen with the Phillies, but it wasn't meant to be. But this Friday night is TikTok night. It's the unofficial TikTok night. It's going to be hosted by me, the Philly sports guy out there. I was going to be in my pinstripes. We're going to be having a great time. I'm looking for all TikTok Philly sports TikTok influencers. Or if you're just an influencer on TikTok and not really into sports, that is the time to go to a Phillies game. It's going to be a lot of fun. I expect to have a bunch of us out there taking care of business, and we're going to be doing that and showing that out. So if you're not doing anything on Friday night, come out there. Obviously, I'm going to be out there Thursday night. Tonight we do Quizzo. We do Quizzo on tonight at 8:00. Tomorrow night, I am hosting the NFC East show. So it's going to. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that from the ballpark or not. I might. It would be something that I would try to make happen, but I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 on that right now. But Thursday, Friday, I'm going to definitely be out there and we're going to watch the game. And this is the last home series before the playoffs. This homestand could possibly be the last home game that we see because I believe we're going to make the playoffs, but obviously we're going to have to go away either to St. Louis or to Atlanta or even to New York, depending on what happens at the top of the division here. And we'll have to, win a playoff series to get another home game. But the hunt for Red October is still going strong. I know that Atlanta beat us and swept us in Atlanta, but them coming to Philly, they have not played well in Philadelphia. Philadelphia has been able to hold serve. So hopefully we can take at least 3 of 4 of this game, at least 3 of 4. And win this series. But first, we have Toronto. We have Toronto that comes off tonight. That starts at, let me make sure, that's a 6:45 start. They start a little early because we're back in school and such like that. So it's a 6:45 start. You have Stripling, who's 8-4 with a 2.94 ERA against Gibson, who's 10-6 with a 4.45 ERA, but it has been pitching very good as of late. So it should be something really nice to see from them. Let's see if he can stop the Toronto Blue Jays, who've actually been having a pretty good run of it as of late. They lost their last game, but they have won. They have won a couple in a row. They are still battling against the Yankees for that top spot. They're in the playoffs, but it's they're still trying to get some points and get some of those games back. And from what I remember correctly, they swept us up in Toronto. They took both games up there. So we need to get the lead back starting tonight. We'll see what happens. Again, like I said, Kyle Gibson on the mound at 6:45 tonight. And like I said, Thursday and Friday, you have that. The other team in Philadelphia that's been playing, they played on Saturday, and it was it Saturday? Yes, it was Saturday. They played on Saturday in Atlanta, and that went to a 0-0 tie. So they had a draw. That actually puts them tied with LAFC right now for the Supporter Shield, and that means with the tiebreaker, LAFC has the tiebreaker on the Union because they have more wins. The Union have more draws. I think they only have 4 losses, but they do have 10 draws. But they are ultimately tied for the best record in the MLS. And like I said, that's coming down to a battle here. The next time they play is an MLS game is not until October, the first weekend in October, where I believe they play Charlotte, and it's they have a friendly against a Mexico team, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen now because obviously Mexico got hit with the 7.5 magnitude earthquake last night or yesterday. So hopefully that friendly is still able to happen, and they're able to game uh, up here to Philadelphia so that we can play against them. I'm not exactly sure what the name of that team is, but it's it's a Mexican team, and they're just keeping their legs strong so that they're able to go into the playoffs in full gear here. Right now, the Union are records all the most goals in an MLS season. They've let up the least amount of goals in an MLS season as of yet. They let up 6 goals, I think, to tie the record. So that means these next 2 teams have to score combined 6 goals, where nobody's gotten more than 2 goals on them all season long. So I fully expect that the Union is going to be able to do their thing and make all that stuff happen and get into the playoffs ready and raring to go. And then my Saturday is going to be over at Yacht Stock. Now, obviously, there's going to be a Phillies game going on, but if you have not been to this is for the Shriners. This is the Shriners down Shriners Hospital, and it's a great cause. This has been going on for, I think, 22 years. They have a whole bunch of bands. It happens right on the waterfront. It's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. You're going to see myself out there. You'll get to see a number of different acts. Yeah, just it's Vixen. You saw the commercial. We saw what everybody's going to be out there. I'm going to be out there taking pictures, shaking babies and kissing hands, things like that. All that all over the place. Get it all riled up and get ready for Sunday. The birds on Sunday is going to be a blast. But obviously, I'm going to be in partial gear because I got shoulder pads to wear the next day. Don't want to go crazy on the shoulder pads, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely come out Saturday night, and then on Sunday, we are going to be in Landover, Maryland, just outside of Washington D.C. FedEx Field. We're going to actually take the building down, tear it apart is what we're going to do. So it's going to be a great week. This is going to be a great week all the way around. Right now, just so that we know, the Phillies have their magic number, I think, is still at 15. I didn't see. Let's see what Milwaukee did yesterday. I didn't really pay attention to anything that happened. But if Milwaukee lost, it would have gone down to 14. They did lose to the Mets. So it is right now at 14. 14 to get. There you go. Get rid of that as well. But I tell you, it's been I'm still like excited about that Eagles game. I'm still overly excited. I mean, like I said, I've been looking at the game book in this game, and there's just certain things that you see that just stand out to me. It's like, besides the time of possession, and besides that the Vikings went 1 for 3 with goal to go attempts. They got down to the goal line and then gave up 2 interceptions. It's like they had more yards passing, more yards punting than they did passing. That's awesome. I love seeing stuff like that. Like, hey, this guy he punted for 246 yards, but threw for 221 yards. Awesome. That is awesome stuff. And and I look at this as like, okay, so now we got Washington coming up. Let's see what's going to occur from them. Let's see what Washington's ranked there in certain things. I'm going to go over some of the details of this of the Washington Commanders. Let me see what I can get off of their, besides the fact that they have Carson Wentz on their squad. That's commanders.com. Let's go. Let's find out. Let's see how they did. What was their box score here for Detroit against Detroit? Let's see. They don't even show it. They do not even show it. They don't allow you to get their box score. Which is amazing to me. It's amazing that the Eagles will give up their box scores, but you don't get anything from. Let's see. Let's see what I can find here. There it is. Yeah, they definitely don't like sharing out their information here. So, the Commanders did get 400 total yards. They did win the time of possession against Detroit. Carson Wentz went 30 for 46, 337 yards and 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. They couldn't run the ball at all. Gibson only had 28 yards rushing. So, obviously, Detroit was able to take care of business in that regard. Their top was Samuel. McLaurin was right behind him with 75 yards. McLaurin is the guy that we're going to have to really worry about. I'm sure big play Slay is going to take care of him. And then you got Bradbury taking on Samuel to make sure that he gets stopped. One or the other, they're going to be 1 and 1A on that. But like I said, he was sacked. How many times was Carson Wentz sacked? It doesn't have that there. This ain't box score. This is just they only show the important things because they don't want you to see all the intangibles of all the other stuff that was going on. Like I said, I know that Aiden Hutchinson wound up with 3 sacks in the first half alone. They did go to max protect after that and was able to make sure and stop them from doing anything else. It really was I said they crushed them. Detroit was even so ridiculous. I'm looking at the way that this says, and it's showing the New York Giants versus the Washington football team on week 2. They don't even update their stuff. That's what happens down in Washington. That they are that half-ass. They are that half-ass that they can't even update their stuff on their website. Sad. But that's just what we expect from there. They don't take care of their stadium. Their owner is got cameras everywhere. Make sure you check in those toilets before you go to the bathroom, because you never know where those cameras could be. I mean, he's just been a mess. He's been an absolute mess. And I'll testify to Congress on my yacht. What a way to go there. But like I said, they supposedly have a really good defense. Again, the Eagles cannot be sniffing themselves too much before they go there. I did say that there was some more news that came across my desk, and I want to make sure that I have it. So first thing was that Yandel is retiring. Yeah, here was what I had heard. Okay. Sean Couturier is week to week with an upper body injury and will be reevaluated during training camp. He had a back injury yesterday, and now here's what came across my desk: that he has herniated discs, and he's going to require surgery, and that he could be out for the better part or maybe the entire season. Sean Couturier not going to be there for the Flyers, which I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing because I don't know how well the Flyers are going to be. But the fact that this guy cannot get on the ice, we have two guys that we're paying that we cannot get on the ice is just it infuriates me. It infuriates me. I mean, it'd be nice to say that they could be, if they were taking a page out of the Lightning's book where they're just going to keep these guys rested all season long, use that money for other things. And then when the playoffs come, have these guys all of a sudden come back and then go to a cup run. But I don't know if we're going to be able to make the playoffs. Couturier is a major part. We missed him completely last year when he did not play. And he was part of the reason why that we did not make the playoffs because he just wasn't there. I mean, the Ellis also same situation, got hurt, and that was the end of that. We weren't able to see him anymore. The Flyers are in desperate need of talent on this team. They need some talent, and if these guys can't get on the ice, it's just that these guys are making ridiculous amounts of money, and to not be on the ice really bothers me. It really bothers me to no end. So I'm hoping and saying whatever. A couple of other people. PK Subban, he retires after 13 seasons. Chara signs a one-day contract with the Boston Bruins and then retires after 24 seasons in the NHL. He obviously was looking slow last year. He tried to get one more cup. It didn't happen. And, of course, Keith Yandel, he played 1 year for the Flyers. He got to 1,000 games. They sat him, and now he's retiring. So no longer will he be able to, that Iron Man streak is gone anyways. He probably before he even hit 1,000 games, but it is what it is. Retiring after 16 seasons. So it's Tortorella has been really stirring this locker room up. He's been making a big deal about the fact of accountability, that they want to hold these players accountable. Well, I'm hoping he's holding the guys that aren't going to be on the ice accountable. Look at Couturier. I want to make sure that guy's hurt. It's like this. You cannot just, he's one of our better players, should be the captain of this team, and he's going to be out for possibly half or all of the season. That's going to make it tough. And I don't know who's going to be the captain of this team. I guess Scott Lawton is the guy who first comes to mind, that he may be the one who winds up being the captain of this team. He is definitely the more vocal leader in the locker room for this team right now. So we'll see. We'll see if there actually becomes something. But as of right now, we got the week to week. Yeah, Anamisov. I thought Anamisov was arrested over in Russia, that he was going to have to serve. I guess he's coming in. He's going to be able to go up, and compete for the backup position at goalie. So we'll see. We'll see if that all comes about. But like I said, a lot of stuff happening in Philadelphia. Again, tonight we play against Toronto Blue Jays. That's a 6:45 start. Definitely go check them out. They're playing the Toronto Blue Jays in a 2-game series, and then we get Atlanta for 4, which is the last 6 games of our home. The home, and then we go on the road for 10 games that finish out the season. Be nice to get a couple of wins here. We need to get in these last 16 games. I'd like to see us get 10 wins, or at least a good 8 or 9. I'd love to see us get 90 wins, but 88 is going to be enough to be able to get in the playoffs. I think as of right now, Milwaukee is just not doing it, and we're going to wind up, I think, in that third wild card spot, which would place us against the Cardinals, which is right where I want to be, because I think we could beat the Cardinals in a 3-game series. Now, the Cardinals are playing some good ball right now, but I think that they are constructed the very same way that the Phillies are constructed, and the Phillies' bats are better. So I believe that even though the Cardinals are playing some good ball right now, I think that we could take them in a 3-game series. All we got to do is win 2 of those games, and then we would have to go up to LA and I think we compete with LA. First off, our guys love batting over there. We won the series against LA this year, so I think that we would go over there and actually take care of some business. Be nice to see them, wind up in in a 7-game series against either the Braves or the Mets. Wouldn't matter at that point. There's a lot of baseball to play before that. We got 16 games to finish out our season, and then we got to get past. We got to take care of business in the wild card spot. Austin, I don't care about the Mets. The Mets got to worry about not losing the division. The fact that they made the playoffs, we all knew they were going to make the playoffs. There wasn't nobody going to be able to catch them. So the fact that they won, they got into the playoffs, who cares? Let's see if they can keep the division lead against the Braves. Right now, they ran into Milwaukee, who's having a terrible time of things. So it's possible that they're going to be able to sweep them. And if they do, then it might be all done but the crying for the Braves. But it's going to be an interesting playoffs to say the least. The Braves are coming on real strong right now, and even though the Phillies aren't playing well, like I said, they didn't have a really good series in Atlanta. That can turn around now that they're back home. They got a day off, a day of rest. It could be a much better day moving forward, and it could be a really good week. I'd love to see them take 4 of the 6. If we split with Toronto, take 3 of 4, or we take all 2. Yeah, like I said, any way that we could do it to get to 4 of 6, that's the way to make it happen. So, thank you very much for paying attention. Look at that. I love it when Chris goes and gives me some information that I didn't know. Wheeler's back tomorrow. I know that's also that what's his face has been back, but I don't think he's going. I think he's going to be in the bullpen. Yes, the Phillies are home against the Braves this week. We have a 4-game series, so we are going up against them. I'd like to see us take 3 of 4. It would help the Mets out by doing that. The Braves are a tough team to beat right now, so there was a reason why they were able to win the World Series last year. They got hot at the right time, so maybe we'll be able to take care of business against them. Maybe we won't, but we definitely need to take 4 of 6 this week against the Toronto Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves. But everybody, thank you very much for hanging with me today. Also, like I said, if you're not doing anything tonight, come to Quizzo in Ridley Park, downtown Ridley Park, in my living room, Dolan's Bar. It's a great spot. It's the best Quizzo in the state of Pennsylvania in total. That's right, all the way out west, from Pittsburgh. They want to come to this Quizzo. This is the best Quizzo in the state. So everybody, thank you very much for hanging with me today. And as always, go Philly! Yeah. Have a great